Hey everybody, it's Z again, and today we are going to be talking about the upcoming Canon EOS R5, which Canon appears to have been teasing for just about forever. Like, come on, just release it already. And as of now, there is still no official release date for the camera. Canon's just kind of coming along and dropping little bits of information every now and then. And one of the reasons they might be doing this from a marketing perspective is to create anticipation for the product, for you to prepare your money to buy it when it comes out, and of course, to get people talking, which is obviously working because here I am filming this video talking about it. So in this video, we're going to discuss two things. I'm going to first round up all of the confirmed specs about the EOS R5, and then based on those specs, I'm going to talk about a few of my concerns or problems I want answered about the EOS R5. Some questions that are not necessarily answered with the specs, and some potential problems the camera might have when it does come out. So confirmed specs is going to have a 12 frames per second mechanical shutter, and it goes up to 20 frames per second electronic shutter. It's pretty average for a mirrorless camera. Some mirrorless cameras can do even faster. Dual card slots, one CF Express and one UHS 2 SD card slot, and it can also do uncropped 8K RAW up to 30 frames per second internally. But here's the interesting bit, it can do internal 10-bit 422 with either C-Log or HDR-PQ for 8K up to 30p or 4K up to 120p, and all of that is uncropped. It's also got dual pixel AF in all recording modes for all frame rates. Now keep in mind that the 1DX Mark II could also shoot RAW and 10-bit internally, but it was not able to perform dual pixel autofocus in the 50p and 60p recording modes. First time ever in a Canon camera, it's also going to have a 5-axis in-body image stabilization, and this can work in conjunction with any IS that is in the lens, and it can also do animal eye autofocus, which I would presume is something similar to the ones we are seeing on Sony cameras. So it can record full-frame video, internal RAW, internal 10-bit with high frame rates, and it can also perform dual pixel autofocus. That is kind of Canon killing off their entire cinema line. I mean, if I was working in Canon, I would say that's putting our cinema cameras at risk. And I'm pretty sure many people are getting the feeling that, whoa, these specs are too good to be true. But these are all official specs provided by Canon. These were not taken from some rumor website or some sort of leak. There's an official press release. So one of the questions I had that probably will not get answered until the actual camera comes out is, how bad is the rolling shutter going to be? This is a concern because on the EOS R, which I'm recording this video with right now, when you're in 4K mode, the rolling shutter is pretty bad, and on the 1DX Mark III, which came out not too long ago, which can also record 5.5K RAW internally, that had pretty bad rolling shutter in RAW as well. So yeah, how bad is the rolling shutter going to be? And there are photos of the R5 already. It doesn't seem that much bigger than the existing EOS R, and most certainly it doesn't seem like it has any sort of active cooling system. It doesn't have fans like there are cinema cameras. They've got fans to prevent them from overheating and keep them recording for long periods of time. The R5 is a mirrorless, it doesn't have that. Not that mirrorless cameras don't ever have that. Panasonic's S1H does have it, but point is the R5 doesn't look like it has it. So with that amount of image data going from the sensor to the image processor and onto the recording media, that's probably going to generate a fair amount of heat. How easily is the R5 going to overheat? Now, I'm pretty sure the engineers who are developing the R5 at Canon are smart enough to think of this as a potential issue, so I'm really quite curious to find out how and if they solve this. I'm pretty sure in the software they will put some sort of recording time limit for maybe 8K video. I just hope it's a usable time limit, like 15 minutes instead of like 3 minutes. But then again, recording time is probably not going to be long either way, because if you are recording 8K RAW video, it takes up a lot of space. When I was shooting 5.5K RAW on the 1DX Mark III with the 512GB CF Express card, I had just over half an hour of recording time, and that was 5.5K RAW. Imagine 8K RAW. And 8K is 4 times the amount of data for 4K, so if you're on a half a terabyte card, I would anticipate maybe about less than 50 minutes of recording time. And I'm pretty sure if you are shooting at some of the higher data rate modes, like 8K RAW or even 8K 10-bit, it's not going to allow you to record it to the SD card because it's probably not fast enough. It will force you to record it onto the CF Express card slot, and CF Express cards are really expensive. So the R5, if you're using it for 8K recording, is going to be a very expensive camera to run. And Canon hasn't said anything about the battery for the R5. I do have a feeling they might still be using the LPE6Ns for the R5, just like the EOS R. It's not a horrible battery, but the E6s were designed for DSLRs back in the days, and for powering a mirrorless camera that has very video-centric use cases, that's probably going to have the LCD on for long periods of time, that's probably going to reading the sensor for long periods of time. With such a major leap in Canon's mirrorless game, I do really hope they upgrade the battery as well. And finally, this is probably not as big of a deal, but they never mentioned if the Animal Eye AF works in video mode or is it only for stills. I mean, it could be very useful for cat videos, just saying. And I do really hope they don't limit any of these features to like RF lenses only. It's not compatible with EF lenses because they're old tech or whatsoever. That would suck because RF lenses are really expensive. And of course, probably one of the biggest worries in everyone's head is how much is the R5 going to cost? Because with a spec sheet like that, Canon does kind of have a very good reason to price it quite expensively. I do have a bit of a feeling they might price it something alongside the 1DX Mark III in that ballpark, which is still very expensive. So I'm really hoping to price it something closer to a 5D. So this is me joining the conversation on the Canon EOS R5. I really wasn't expecting to make this video because I was expecting the camera to come out sooner, so I can actually talk about the camera with it in hand, but since it's taking forever, might as well talk about it while waiting for it. So thank you for joining me on this more casual video today. If you would like to watch some other videos, do you consider listening to the YouTube algorithm's recommendations? I don't know. See you in the next one.